Did you know that the successful marketing of the Jell-O invention got off to a wobbly start? Hey, it's Don Skaggs again with Empowered Inventing TV, where we try to help you help other people by taking your great innovation, the right opportunity, mixing that all up with sound wisdom so you can turn them into real things like products and businesses. Now, for over a century, Jell-O has been one of the most popular desserts in America. But most people don't know it had a wobbly start. I had to do that again. So, gelatin as a delicacy actually goes back as far as the 15th century. But in 1845, the inventor of the steam locomotive engine, which was actually called the Tom Thumb. I didn't know that. I learned that when I was doing research for this. But the inventor of the first steam locomotive engine, his name was Peter Cooper, filed a patent number 4084. Now, that always just intrigues me because now we're like at, patent 7,504,000, whatever. No, this was patent number 4084 for what he called portable gelatin. You see, beforehand they had to go through the process of extracting the gelatin material from animal bones and then let that cool and then skim the fat off and just all this stuff. It was a big nasty process. But he had figured out a way to get all this into a powder requiring only adding hot water. What we know now today as good old-fashioned Jell-O. So Cooper didn't market it well, though. He didn't really market it at all. He sold it to cooks on occasion, but he never really commercialized it. It's like he was, yeah, I made this, but, I've got this locomotive engine over here. Actually, he was more interested in taking this product and making a glue product out of it. And actually, there are a lot of gelatin glues out there, I think, still for some applications. But yeah, he was more interested in producing a powdered glue. So enter May and Pearl Walt, or Pearl and May Walt. I think Pearl was the husband's name, May was the wife's name. They had an unsuccessful cough syrup and laxative business that was barely scraping by. And they decided, hey, let's try food products. And they obtained the patent for gelatin in 1895. So they took their experience of working with cough syrups and took these flavored syrups that they were using for cough syrups and gave the gelatin flavor. So May had actually taken the words and combined the words gelatin, jelly, and O, which for some reason I think back around that time, all the new products they were putting, you just put O on the end and it made it cool, I guess, in 1895. But that's what they did. They said, okay, let's call this Jell-O. And because there was a lot of, if you look through history, it's really kind of interesting. There's a lot of things they just put O on the end of it and, okay, it's a product. We got O on the end of it. Also, they said it was easier to trademark because I guess most people just at the time weren't putting O on the end. So there was just it was kind of like a thing back then. A lot of products, if you look at a lot of products back then, they had O on the end for that reason. So, unfortunately, Pearl and May were not, they weren't really good at marketing. So they sold it to a neighbor named Frank Woodward for $450, which is about $12,000 in today's money. And even with Frank was kind of a marketing guy and he kind of knew how to sell stuff and he was working really hard with it, but sales were still kind of sagging until Frank had some extra money from some other products he was selling, which I think is interesting, and put it in ad in the Ladies' Home Journal. When he did that, sales jumped to 250,000. I think it's about, it's around the turn of the century of 1900. From the, what would that be, the 19th or the 20th century. And all of a sudden, you're selling just a little bit. $250,000? I'd love to sell $250,000 of anything today. That'd be cool. As long as there was a decent margin to it, and I'm sure Jell-O had a decent margin. So $250,000 in about 1900 was about $6.2 million today. So that is quite the jump for just putting ads in the Ladies' Home Journal. And but he did more than that. He actually printed recipe books and gave them out to people. And he made free molds. I thought this was interesting. He made free Jell-O molds. So he had these molds made up, and he handed them out to immigrants coming in at Ellis Island. You can't make a story like that up. That is just wild. Okay, welcome to America. Here's your Jell-O mold, and by the way, buy some Jell-O when you get all settled in. But that's what he did. And it just went on from that all the way up to when radio came out. There's, I don't know if a lot of people out there can still remember. I remember hearing the old jingle, J-E-L-L-O. I'm sure you can find that on YouTube somewhere. But the old Jell-O jingle, that was like a real popular thing. I think Jack Benny actually sang the first Jell-O jingle. But anyway, what can we learn from all this? I'm always telling these stories, but there are really good nuggets that are helpful for inventors and entrepreneurs today, just all wrapped up. And of course, and this story is like no other. It is packed full of them. So first thing is inventors, inventions that no one cares about can be opportunities for other people. Cooper was all focused on glue when he came up with this thing. But not desserts. But the people who were getting into food products, oh wow, wait, this could be something. And they used their strengths, and this is another thing, use your strengths to apply to solving new challenges. Now, the syrup business was apparently, or the cough syrup business was apparently just awful for this couple, and it wasn't working very well at all. But they learned how to they learned about the components of cough syrup, and because of what they learned there, that may have been useless in that point in their life, they were able to use to make Jell-O a thing. So watch for things that you could use to make them more valuable leverage for new things that you're working on now. That thing you might have thought was a flop, the stuff you learned from that might be invaluable for the next thing you do. Don't forget that. Another thing is bad products can sometimes become good products with the right modifications. And that was where they added the flavorings. I don't think anybody probably was really crazy about plain gelatin. I mean, I think you buy it in the store like just plain gelatin. It's pretty much, got no flavor at all. And, you use it for different things, but you always add it to something. But the right modifications of just selling gelatin as is was the flavoring. And tons of sugar, of course. But that aside, another thing is the right marketing and promotions can make all the difference. So, for instance, I think the name was that is just such a well-known name now. Everybody knows what Jell-O is. Everybody knows this package. You go into the grocery store. So the name was really cool. Even though the O in the end was kind of common at the time, but it was still kind of cool. But I think the big piece of this was he advertised in the Ladies' Home Journal, and he did the thing with the books, he did the thing with the free molds. He was promoting this, ways people can use it. If you can help, again, you're helping people by saying, oh, look what all you can do with this. Here, let me help you to do. Oh, look, here's a recipe. Oh, look, you can put fruit inside this thing. Isn't that cool? Oh, look, here's a mold. And guess what? They sold, what did I say, 250,000 in 1900 of Jell-O. 6.2 million in today's dollars. So that kind of stuff works, and it works today. You got to give to get. The more you help people, the more the inclined they will be to adopt your solution. So if you're looking for more information on this, you can sign up. There's a great course at Empowered Inventing Academy on empoweredinventing.com called Crafting the Perfect Pitch. You can sign up for that today at empoweredinventing.com. And thank you for watching this. I hope you found it helpful. If you did find it helpful, share it with somebody else. Share it with somebody you know, somebody else you think it might be helpful for. But anyway, I'm Don Skaggs. This is Empowered Inventing TV. Like, subscribe, help us to build our tribe. Don't forget that notification bell, and I'll look to see you at one of our next meetings, one of our next workshops, or maybe at one of those online courses. And now I'm going to have me some Jell-O. What'd you think I was going to do with this?